Welcome to Gentle Yoga. My name is Katherine. Today we are going to just need a block, and if you have sensitive knees, you have trouble putting weight on your knees, you will need a chair. So there'll be some options for doing chair work there. Let's start standing today. You can have your block kind of nearby within reach, but coming into mountain pose, Tadasana, take a look at your feet and place them parallel. So generally, like the outer edges of the feet are parallel to each other, toes and knees pointing forward generally. If that feels incredibly awkward, just kind of split the difference. And you can bring your hands to your hips and just rock back and forth from toes to heels. And then finding a central place to release the weight of your body through your feet into the planet. And so now it feels like the weight of your body is spread out between the toes and the heels. And then I'd like you to just roll the feet so that the arches of the feet come towards the floor a little bit. Of course, if this creates a lot of pain, please don't do it. But we're just going to roll side to side now with the feet. Rolling now to the outer edges of the feet and then the inner. And just noticing how your ankle bones track as you do this. As the weight comes to the inside, the ankle bones kind of come towards the inner part of your stance, and then they roll to the out. And then finding a central place to place the weight once again. And if the feet have turned out a little bit, see if you can turn maybe them in a little bit more again, so the outer edges generally are parallel. And then releasing the arms alongside the body. Extend your thigh bones just back just a little bit in space as you draw your low belly in. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Balancing your head over your heart, over your pelvis, over the place between your feet. Let's take 2 breaths here. And on the next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead as high as they go. And then palms come together in front of your heart. Lifting your chest into the knuckles of your thumbs, standing nice and tall. Gently just bow your chin slightly towards your heart. And just noticing how you're doing today. How are you? Greeting yourself to your practice with an inner or outer smile. Welcome, glad you're here. And then lifting your gaze and resting your eyes on something eye level in front of you. With an inhale, you're going to reach your arms up. And with an exhale, bring the palms back together in front of your heart. So we'll just keep doing that. I'm going to move a little bit to the side. I don't want to hit my light fixture. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, bring the palms together. Keep moving. Now, next time the arms reach up, exhale, fold forward. Grab your block if you need it. You can always rest your fingertips on the block. Gaze at your knees. Take 3 breaths here in the forward fold. Notice where the weight of your body is positioned on your feet and see if you can spread out the weight between the heels and the toes, the inner and outer arches, feeling the feet resting in a neutral position, a centered position under the body. Last breath. Good, bend the knees and slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Head's the last thing to come up. And then extend your arms out in front of you. This is called broken windmill. So we're going to start with just the left arm. You're going to swing your left arm down, back, behind you, and then up. Let's do that one more time. Left arm goes down, back, behind you, any amount that feels comfortable, and up. And then opposite arm's going to go the opposite direction. So left arm goes down, right arm goes up. And then they circle back around. And so as the arms come in front, the left arm glides down, right arm glides up. Keep your gaze resting on something eye level in front of you. Feel your breath. Let it be like a moving meditation. One more circle. And then we'll finish with the arms out in front of us once again. Now let's go the opposite direction. We're going to start just with the right arm. Right arm circles down, back, and up. Again, down, back, and up. And now as right arm goes down, bring your left arm up. Left arm goes opposite direction. Keep moving. As the arms come in front, right arm goes down, left arm goes up. Feel your breath. Let yourself be like a mountain as you're moving through this practice, right? Maybe it's a little bit of a brain teaser right now for you. Totally fine. Do what you can. Let's do one more round. Good. And then inhale, reaching up. Exhale, sweep arms to the sides, forward fold, Uttanasana. Fingertips to the floor or a block. On the next inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, hands to the shins, halfway up. Extend your spine. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, stand up, reach up, arms up. Exhale, hands together in front of heart. That's one half sun salutation. Let's do two more. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, diving down. Fingertips to the floor or a block. On the next inhale, half forward fold. Gaze to the top edge of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, sweep up. We got one more. We're gonna pause for a moment here, palms in front of heart. I'd like you to keep track of your feet as we do this. Try to keep weight equally the center line of the feet, so neither rolling to the outer edges or inner edges of the feet as you come down. Please adjust your stance so you can feel like this is doable, toes and knees forward. On the next inhale, reach up. And exhale, dive down. On the inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, sweep up, reach up. Exhale, palms together in front of heart. Feel your breath. Okay, folks who have sensitive knees, this is a good time for you to move to the chair. We're going to go into a lunge, so you're simply going to just sit side saddle and step 1 foot back, okay? Folks who are on the mat, you're going to forward fold, fingertips to the floor or a block, and I'd like you to step your left foot back and slowly lower the left knee. Feel free to double up your mat if you need extra padding on your knee, but I'd like you to stand on that left knee so that you've got the left thigh bone is vertical and the right shin is vertical. I'm creating a nice box with my legs. So even if you can go really deep, just pause here because I'd like you to work on lengthening your tailbone towards the floor so we can send the stretch into the front of the left thigh. From here, I'd like you to place your left hand on your right shoulder and your right hand underneath. So everyone's going to be doing that. And then simply just broaden the upper back. Let the shoulder blades part. And can you broaden your chest at the same time? So this is a variation of eagle pose arms. So broadening the chest, long neck. Those of you who are in the chair, so you've got your left leg back behind you. Right, and you want that left knee bent so that you can, it's like you're tucking the tailbone sort of, so you're scooping that tail forward so you can get a nice stretch in the quad. Let's do one more breath here. Press that back foot into the floor. Good, and then we'll take one more breath with our both arms up overhead. Reach, reach, reach. And then hands land to the floor or a block. If you need, tuck the back toe and step forward into a forward fold. Those of you in the chair, just pivot and sit in the chair. So you're sitting straight forward. Inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana, hands to shins. Exhale, fingertips to the floor or block, fold, gaze at your knees. On your next inhale, step your right foot back. We're going to move into a lunge, second side. Very short lunge. Coming up to stand on that knee. Folks in the chair, you know what to do. Second side. And then again, just check that that knee is directly under the hip or as close to under the hip as you can get it. As you lengthen your tailbone, it's like you're scooping the tail towards the front of the mat. And then your right hand to the top of the left shoulder, left hand underneath. Broaden the chest, moving the shoulders away from each other, broadening the upper back, lengthening the back of the skull towards the sky, soften the tongue. Really moving those shoulders away from each other as best you can. And it's that scoop of the tailbone that's going to help stretch the quad. Let's take one more round of breath here. Good, and then one additional breath with the arms up overhead. Scooping the tail, press the back foot into the floor. And then land the hands. Step forward into a forward fold. Those of you in the chair, you could turn around and come into a chair dog, right? So you'll just have your hands on the seat of the chair and then just stepping back. So we're all getting a nice long spine, a little bit of a stretch behind the backs of the legs. Chair folks, stay where you are in that chair dog. Folks who are on the mat, inhale, half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, gaze at the knees. On your next inhale, take your time, standing up, reaching up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Good, okay. Chair folks, go ahead and stand up if you haven't already. Let's come back into mountain pose. Rest your gaze once again, something eye level in front of you. And let's move into a little bit of tree pose. Bring your palms in front of your together in front of your heart. Feel your breath. And if you haven't yet, just check that your toes and knees are generally pointing forward here. Shift the weight into your right foot. And just notice as you do that, what happens to the weight of the body? Does it go to the heel? Does it tend to go to the toes, right? Everybody's going to have a different answer. It's just nice to know, what do you habitually do? Then you can make more informed decisions about how you navigate your practice. Go ahead and swing that left knee open. Welcome to keep the ball of the opposite foot, the left foot on the floor if you like, or maybe slide it up the leg. Please keep it below or above the knee. Okay, and then here, you can keep the hands together, or if you're feeling like you'd like a little bit more of a challenge today, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together. We're going to be here for about 3 more breaths. Pressing the sole of that left foot into the standing leg. Meet yourself where you are today. Good. Let's do the second side. Check your foundation. As you shift the weight into the left foot, get curious, notice what happens, and then swinging that right knee open. Press the foot into the leg if that's what you chose to do. And then coming into your variation for the next 3 breaths. Good, and then placing right foot on the floor next to left. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then side bend to your left. Hips can go right, arms go left. You're always welcome to take your left arm and bring it onto the left thigh if that's a little bit more helpful to help keep the chest open. And even though we're stretching the right side body, see if you can keep the left side body nice and long. One more round of breath. And then inhale, come on back up. Both arms up. Let's take the second side. Maybe hands together overhead. Maybe right arm to the side. And you'll notice, maybe the body wants to turn a little bit. Maybe that left hip comes forward. Can you keep the left hip points, the hip points square with the shoulders facing forward, heart opening, maybe turning your head to the left if that feels good. Take about one more breath. Breathing into the tight places. And then come on back up, both arms up. Let's dive back down, forward fold. Hands to shins, half forward fold, inhale. Exhale, fold. Gaze at the knees. Since we're down here, go ahead and locate your block, grab it, and then bend those knees and let's roll up. One vertebrae at a time, head's the last thing to come up. Okay, now take your block and place it on its thinnest setting just above the knees. Now your feet are gonna have to go a little bit wider apart to make room for that, totally fine. Thinnest setting, and you're just gently holding it above the knees. Okay, here's my knees. And we're doing this, it's a nice way to help activate the pelvic floor, but also to just keep the awareness in the legs as we move. We're gonna move in and out of chair, and now how deep you go depends on what you need today for your body. So please take care of yourself. Here's how we're gonna do it. On an inhale, you're gonna bend the knees and sweep your arms back behind you, palms face each other. On the exhale, stand up, straighten the legs, sweep the arms forward and round the upper back. So now the shoulder blades are off the back. Inhale, bend the knees, shoulder blades together, broad chest. Exhale, standing, rounded back. Upper back, that is. Good. Keep moving with your breath. Hips go back in space as you do this. The inhale to broaden that chest. The exhale as the shoulder blades come off the back. Just inviting a little bit more mobility into the shoulder blades. Let's do about 2 more. Good, go ahead, stand up. Take the block, release it to the floor. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Fingertips touch something, gaze at your knees. Breathe into the back body, 3 breaths. Let those knees bend. Even they can bend even quite a bit if they need to. And then bend them even more and slowly roll up. Good. Go ahead and take your feet wide. At least shoulder width distance apart, maybe a little wider if you can do that today. Turn your toes out, the heels in, bend the knees for goddess pose. Extend your arms out left and right. And slowly turn your head to look over the middle finger of the right hand. Exhale completely here. Inhale. And then exhale, straighten the legs, arms come down alongside the body, gaze forward. Inhale, back into goddess pose. Turn your head to the left, looking over middle finger of left hand. Exhale completely here, stay in the pose. Inhale here. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms down alongside the body, gaze forward. And now we're going to move back and forth. Inhaling goddess pose, bend the knees, gaze over right middle finger. Exhale, straighten the legs, gaze forward. Inhale, bend the knees, look over left middle finger. Exhale, straighten the legs, gaze forward. Let's do about 2 or 3 more rounds of that to the rhythm of your breath. Really reaching the arm bones away from the chest to help broaden the collarbones. Let's do 1 more round of that. Good, go ahead, turn your toes in, heels slightly out. So turning the heels away from each other a little bit more maybe than you're used to. And then we'll fold forward. Go ahead, rest your fingertips on a block if you need it, or touch the floor. Let's take a couple of breaths, gazing between the legs. Bring your awareness to the soles of your feet and just notice how the weight is placed on the feet. Now I'm having you turn your toes in a little bit just so you can get a better stretch. Getting an opportunity to stretch the outer, the outer legs. But can you keep weight on the insides of the feet? So where the arches are, can you please continue to keep weight on the insides of the arches? Insides. Oh, my words are not working today. So you're basically pressing through the ball of the feet, right where the base of the big toe is. Keeping the spine long, and there can be a tendency to roll to the outside edges of the feet here. Try to counter that. Reaching the hip bones towards the sky. 1 more breath. Good. And then you can bend your knees a little bit, help bring the hands to the hips, and then come on up to stand. Take your time. So let's all come on down to the floor now. And I'd like you to come onto your belly. Arms will come alongside the body. Palms facing down. Tops of the feet are to the mat. And keeping your entire body anchored to the floor, just creep your toes as far from the hips as you can get them so that the spine really feels lengthened by this action. You're extending your tailbone towards your heels here. Draw your low belly in with an exhale. And with an inhale, take a very slow locust pose, lifting nice and slow, arms and legs and head off the floor, chest. And then with an exhale, slowly lowering it down. Bring one cheek to the mat. When the inhale arrives, again, a nice slow lifting of the body again away from the floor. Gaze to the top edge of the mat. And then the exhale brings opposite cheek to the mat. Let the body come to the floor. So we're just going to move in and out of locust pose like this. And as you do it, let it be like a kind of a curious endeavor here. We're just noticing what muscles are activating and turning on as we lift the body away from the floor. Where do you feel the most activation in the back body as you lift, right? Some people tend to really squeeze their butt really hard as they come up, right? Maybe you feel more in the shoulders, just noticing. First, just becoming curious. And from a very open, curious place, noticing what's going on. And then from there, if you do know that you tend to over grip or over squeeze in one area of the back body as you lift, see if you can kind of relax that spot a little bit and then instead activate some other areas, maybe other areas that you aren't activating so much to help lift you. Let it be nice and easy. It doesn't have to be a really big sensation. Do try to move the shoulders up away from the floor best you can, though, so you can really let the chest broaden as you lift. Let's do about 3 more of these. Remembering to relax in between. Last one. And then go ahead and stack your hands. Come into crocodile. Take the feet wide. Rest your forehead on your hands. Let your belly get really soft and big as you inhale. As you exhale, let it all go. Breathe it into the planet. Few more rounds like this. Big belly breath as you inhale into the planet, into the mat. Particularly breathing some spaciousness into the low back and letting your belly get really soft and big as you inhale will help that. One more round of breath. Okay, go ahead and roll on to one side. Roll onto one side. Doesn't really matter which side, but let's just kind of play a little game here. Let's see how you can balance on one side. So straighten your leg. You'll notice I'm straightening my legs. You are welcome to prop your head up if you want. I find like it's a little bit harder to balance completely on one side for me when I prop my head up, right? Because you want to keep your whole body on one line best you can, right? It makes me roll back. So I like to just extend my bottom arm and rest my head on it. Maybe even extending the top arm too. And so I like to think like I'm a knife, a butter knife, and I'm trying to balance on that very thin edge. Maybe even trying to lift your feet collectively towards the ceiling. Maybe. Take one more breath here. And then bend the knees. Good. So prop your head up however you like for this. We've done these quite a few times. I think they're excellent for hip mobility. We're going to do some clams. So lifting the left knee, keep the feet together, or excuse me, whatever knee is on top, right? I don't know what knee is on top. So lift your top knee, feet are together, the clam is open, And then knees and feet together still as you close. Let's do that a couple times, trying to keep the hips from swinging back and forth. So you're really trying to stabilize this movement. And if you can't, you may need to make the movement smaller. It's okay. Maybe the knees just open, I don't know, a couple inches. That's fine. Meet yourself where you are. And then let's bring the knees together. And then we're going to do the opposite movement. So lifting the top foot, keep the knees together. Imagine that there's a hinge at your knees, and lower the top foot. Lift the top foot and lower. This one it can be kind of a doozy, right? When you lift that foot, you may want to like face plant towards the floor. See if you can make the movement small enough, and activate your low belly, draw it in to stabilize this movement enough so you can really work on that hip. So these are hinges. So moving our hips in all directions, our thigh bones in all these different directions is so good for our feet. It's so good for our knees. It's good for our back. And it's good for our hips. Okay, now feet together, and we're going to alternate back and forth. So we're going to go clam and then hinge. Knee lifts, foot lifts. Just going back and forth. It's really nice kind of lubrication to the hip joint. Keep breathing. Let's do a couple more of these. Okay, good. And then finishing with the knees together, feet together. Now draw your knees a little bit closer towards your chest and walk your bottom shoulder a little bit forward and rest your head on the floor if you can. Extend your bottom arm, extend your top arm. So now it looks like you're gonna, I don't know, dive into a pool or something. We're gonna circle in and out of a twist by using our top arm. Imagine your top arm is the arm of a clock. And I want you to swing that arm, big circle, opening up. Now your top shoulder comes to the floor or close to the floor as you circle it out to the side and down. I hope you have more room than I do. My left arm's hitting the wall, but imagine it's not. So circling, and as you circle and open up, you open up into a twist, and then circling down. Keep moving. And I like to really link this with my breath. So as I open up into the twist, I land on an inhale. Slowing it down is good, as slow as feels good to you. Let's do one more circle like this, and then we'll just finish in a twist. So left arm, top arm, excuse me, opens up. You're in that twist. Opposite hand, so there's one arm behind you, right? Opposite hand is just gonna rest on that top leg, just kind of close up the legs. Head turns to look at the arm that's behind you, if that feels okay for your neck. A few breaths like this. One more nice and easy breath. Very good. Go ahead and roll onto your back. Knees bent, feet on the floor. Arms alongside the body. And just taking a moment, feeling both sides of your pelvis evenly resting on the mat. Feel your breath. And then we're going to come in and out of bridge pose. We'll just do a couple things before we hit up the other side. So as you inhale, press your feet down into the planet. Lift your hips and lift your arms as well. Up and back behind you. Please keep your gaze on the ceiling as you do this. Exhale, hips to the mat, arms alongside the body on the floor, beginning position. Keep moving with the breath. Inhale, lifting, gazing at the ceiling. Exhale, you're back on the floor. Let's do that about 2 more times. And as you come down, can you articulate your spine, like really moving one vertebrae at a time down to the mat? See if you can get that low back and then the sacrum to the mat. And lifting one vertebrae at a time. Good. And then let's all meet on the mat. Arms are going to stay on the floor. Slowly bring your knees into the chest. Now keep your thighs as close together as you can as you do this. And we're going to inhale and extend the legs towards the ceiling. Toes peel towards the knees. Exhale, bend the knees. Beginning position. Let's do that a couple times. Inhale, extension. Right? And some of you might have really tight backs of the legs. Maybe your knees stay a little bit bent. That's okay. Keep peeling the toes towards the knees though, so you can get a good stretch in the calves. And then we're going to add the arms. As the legs extend, arms reach up and back behind you. You're the letter L, and then arms alongside the body. Keep moving. Filling the lungs with breath as you extend the arms and legs. Twice more. Okay, release the feet to the mat. Go ahead and roll onto the other side, and we'll do those clams on the other side. So just roll over. Oh, but we gotta do our little balancing game first, don't we? Okay, so stretch out the legs long. We're gonna balance here. Long legs, you're just like on a little line right here on the mat. Your little butter knife. Maybe you extend your bottom arm, maybe the top arm too. You're welcome to just keep the top arm on the hip though, if you like. Keep the belly drawing in. Yeah. So again, it's just a game. Maybe you start just steamrolling around on your mat. That's totally fine. Just come back to it. If you're doing all right, maybe you want to lift the legs collectively towards the ceiling. Woo. Okay, go ahead and bend the knees. Support your head in any way that feels right for you for clams. Okay, so stabilize the hips as you lift the top knee, feet are together, and then lower the top knee. Keep moving with the breath. This hip will probably be different, totally fine. But do please try to avoid swinging and rocking a bunch as you do this. Stabilizing the pelvis so that we can isolate this movement in the hip. Okay, and then we're going to do the opposite movement. We're going to do hinges. So knees stay together, but the top foot lifts. We're internally rotating that thigh bone as we do this. And this movement actually stretches the outer hip. That nice stretch that we get in pigeon pose. This is facilitating that stretch, but we're doing it with movement. We're doing it with strength. And what's I think is so interesting is sometimes like foot and ankle problems, they can um, originate in the hips. Maybe there's a lack of movement of the hips, right? Or maybe knee problems. There's a lack of movement or a lack of stability, and then the joints below have to take up the slack. So that's something interesting to consider. And then, of course, our hips are so tied into our back too, and how our back feels, the health of our back. Okay, we're going to go back and forth from clams to hinges. So clam, and then knees together, hinge. Okay, going back and forth. Keep moving. And try to stabilize the body, stabilize the hips. So we're just moving the leg. Take about 2 more breaths as you do this movement. Okay, finishing with the legs together. Release your head to the floor and inch your bottom shoulder forward a little bit. Extend your bottom arm, extend your top arm. So now your your palms are together, you're gazing forward. And now we're going to circle, and then draw the knees a little bit closer in towards the chest. Now we're going to circle the top arm like the face, the arm of a clock. So top arm circles up and back behind, and then open into a twist. So the top shoulder comes closer to the floor, or maybe it comes to the floor as you open up, and then circle that arm down. Keep moving. Nice big slow breath in as that top arm circles out behind you. Now, next time it opens up, pause there in that twist. Maybe gazing at the ceiling, maybe head turns to look at the hand behind you. The opposite arm, you're going to just rest it on the thigh, kind of help keep the legs together. And you're going to extend the top hip slightly away from your chest as you do this. It'll maybe give you a little bit of a stretch in the outer hip too. Couple breaths. Okay, good. Now from here, let's just roll onto our belly for a moment. Bring your hands on either side of the ribs, forehead to the mat, hug your elbows in, and walk your feet together and away from the trunk, preparing for a cobra pose. So just a gentle low cobra on an inhale. Lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together as you gaze forward, and exhale, release the forehead down. We're going to use the muscles of the back to do this. Inhaling, lifting. Maybe putting a little bit more weight in the hands if that feels good. And then exhale, lowering. Let's do one more, and then you're gonna hold this one for 1 to 3 breaths. Keep hugging elbows in, ribs in, tops of the feet are on the mat here. Legs are active and engaged. Good, and then release to the floor. Let's flip onto our backs. Knees are bent, feet on the mat. Coming in and out of bridge pose. Inhale, lift the hips, sweep the arms up and back behind you. Keep the gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, rolling down the spine. Draw your tummy in to help release the low back. Let's do that a few more times. Coming in and out of bridge, rolling up and down the spine. Thighs stay parallel. And then exhale, rolling down the spine. Keep your right arm behind you, but bring your left arm alongside the body. Thighs rest together as you walk your feet away from each other. So they're about as wide as the mat. And then turn your head to the left. Get really heavy in your right arm, really heavy in the left side of your face. Just let it release towards the floor. Maybe that arm that's behind you, could even let it bend a little bit. We're inviting a stretch into the top of the right shoulder, a little bit into that neck. Soften the face, soften the jaw, feel your breath. Good, and then walk your feet back towards each other. So now the feet are hips width distance, thighs are parallel. You're going to sweep the left arm back behind you as you come back into bridge, but gaze at the ceiling first. So gaze at the ceiling, lift the hips, left arm comes up and back behind you, and then we'll switch out. Right arm alongside the body as you return the hips to the floor. Walk your feet away from each other, thighs are touching, head turns now to the right. Getting real heavy in that arm behind you. Let the elbow bend a little bit if that feels good. Noticing any sensation in the top of the left shoulder. Soft jaw, soft tongue. One more soft belly breath. Walk your feet back together again so that they're about hips width distance. Gaze at the ceiling, so turn your head to a neutral position. One more bridge, lifting right arm up, back behind you. Both arms are now back behind you. And then exhale, return your body to the floor, arms alongside the body. Slowly bring the knees into the chest, but keep the arms where they are on the floor. On an inhale, extend your legs towards the sky. Exhale, bend the knees. Twice more, inhale. Reach those heels straight up, toes peel towards the knees. Exhale. Once more. And now let's do that again, but add the arms. Inhale, arms sweep up and back behind you, legs extend. Exhale, bend knees, arms alongside the body. Do that 4 more times to the rhythm of your breath. Good. Now keep the knees in towards the chest, or the knees bent rather, excuse me. The feet are going to stay together, but let the knees open wide. You're going to reach your arms between the legs and then grab a hold of the ankles. So the toes are touching, but the knees are wide. Let your belly soften, let your pelvic floor relax. Stretching the groin here, couple breaths. Now, from here, you're welcome to stay here, or if you like, you can play around with some happy baby pose if you like. Maybe you can reach the outer edges of the feet. You like to do that. You can also do it with just holding the ankles. You could extend one leg, sole the foot towards the sky. Few breaths. And then maybe doing the other few breaths. And then perhaps doing both if you'd like to come into a full happy baby or somewhere in between. Sometimes it's nice just to straighten out the legs. Take a few breaths here now just to explore the hamstrings, the inner thighs, the pelvis. What would help release the back, the groin? And then slowly releasing the feet to the mat, thighs together, take your feet wide. So now here we are. We're twirling the femur bone, the thigh bone, a different direction. We just externally rotated the thigh bone, and now we're internally rotating the thigh bone. Bring your hands to your belly and expand your belly into your hands as you inhale. You're going to fill the stomach with air. Exhaling, releasing the tummy towards the floor. Twice more like that. And not only just expanding the belly, but expand the low back, feeling maybe the low back expand, breathing space into the place between the bottom ribs and the top of the pelvis. Let's take one more breath like that. Good. And then let's extend the legs for Shavasana, relaxation pose. Bringing the arms alongside the body and then kind of kicking them out a little off the mat. Flatten your shoulder blades underneath you, just walking the tops of the shoulders a little further from the ears. You can move your head a little side to side and just ensure that you're really releasing the weight of your skull to the planet. Let the earth hold the weight of your bones. And letting the earth hold any other kind of weight you want to release to the earth. Just letting go, letting go. Shavasana. If you can stay longer in relaxation pose and would like to, please do. If you need to move on with the rest of your day, please start wiggling your fingers and your toes. Just noticing, what is it like to have fingers and toes? And then taking a big morning stretch. Drawing your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug of gratitude for making this time for yourself. And rolling to one side and coming up to a comfortable seat of your choice. Meeting with our palms together in front of our heart, just feeling into your experience, noticing, how are you doing now? How's it going? And if you'd like to dedicate the benefits of your practice to someone or someone special in your life, visualize them wherever they are right now in their day. And then we'll send out this kindness with an exhale. Take a big breath in to gather it up. Send it out. See them feeling good in their body, heart, and mind. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.